Choosing the right keyboard can be a daunting task. There are so many different brands and styles to choose from that sometimes it's difficult to know where to start. Luckily, we've been working in this industry for a long time, and we have these conversations with our customers nearly every day. That's why we decided to put together this guide to help you figure out what you should be looking for when you're shopping for a new gaming keyboard. In this video, we'll mainly be focusing on the two major categories of gaming keyboard, membrane and mechanical. While we don't consider either of these styles of keyboard to be better or worse than the other, there are always pros and cons to consider when choosing one over the other, and of course, everybody is entitled to their own preference and opinion. When we talk about membrane versus mechanical, what we're referring to is the mechanism that is used to register a key press. On a membrane keyboard, when you press a key down, the keycap is basically just squishing down a little rubber dome that applies pressure to a set of electrical contacts. When these two contacts meet, it registers a key press. This is why membrane keyboards have a kind of squishy feel to them, and why they also make a lot less noise. When you press a key on a mechanical keyboard, however, the keycap presses down a shaft which has a little spring under it. As this key presses down, there's a little gold-plated cross-point contact that clicks into place and closes the connection, and that's what registers the key press. This is why mechanical keyboards have a really good tactile and clicky feel to them, and having all the precision plastic and metal parts is what gives them their longevity. There are many different kinds of mechanical key switches from different manufacturers, and they all have their own color codes which indicate things like how loud they are and how much weight it takes to activate them. This is a whole other can of worms which we'll only briefly touch on today, but we'll be back with more detail on this in future content. So now that we know what we're comparing, let's take a look at the pros and cons of both styles of keyboard. First, let's look at membranes. The pros are a lower price. Because the key mechanism is so basic, a membrane keyboard is far cheaper to produce, which has led them to be the most popular form of keyboard in the world. Noise. Membrane keyboards are also much quieter than most mechanical keyboards. Spill-proof. There are many excellent spill-proof membrane keyboards available because the rubber dome membrane covers most of the electrical connections. This makes it far easier for manufacturers to develop water and dust-resistant keyboards. And the cons of membrane keyboards? Limited lifespan. Most membrane keyboards have a lifespan of about 5 million presses. That might seem like a lot, but it's only a fraction of what a mechanical is capable of. The keys cannot be cleaned or repaired. Generally speaking, you can't remove the keycaps on a membrane keyboard without damaging it. If these keyboards fault outside of their warranty period, you'll usually need to replace them, as repair isn't often an option. Key rollover and ghosting. Due to the way membrane keyboards are designed, you can only press a few keys down at once before additional key presses stop being registered. Now let's talk about what ghosting actually is. This might not seem like a big deal, but let's look at a practical example. Most membrane keyboards will register about 3 key presses at a time. So say for instance you're playing a game and you're holding the W key to move forward. At the same time, you might be holding shift to run. Now say you want to jump by pressing space and then throw a grenade by pressing G. Unless you time your key presses perfectly to release that spacebar, chances are that your grenade throw isn't going to get registered at all. Now, you'd be right in saying that this might seem like a minor issue that only pops up every now and then, but it is a valid concern for serious gamers, and it's definitely something to keep in mind. Let's take a look at the pros and cons of mechanical keyboards. Mechanical keyboard pros. High key rollover. Due to the design of mechanical keyboards, you can hold down far more keys at once. Most entry-level mechanicals will have between 6 and 10 key rollover, but high-end mechanicals will have full N-key rollover. This means that you can literally hold down all the keys at once and they will all register. Long lifespan. Due to the heavy-duty switch design, mechanical key switches are built to withstand 30 to 70 million presses. Accuracy. Because of the tactile feedback from the key switch, hardcore gamers and touch typists can reach an insanely high degree of speed and accuracy. Serviceable. If a fault occurs outside the warranty period with the mechanical keyboard, it can likely be repaired by someone who's handy with a soldering iron. Parts are readily available for most common faults, and replacing a key switch can be as simple as desoldering 2 points on the PCB. Now let's look at the cons of mechanical keyboards. Cost. Due to the design features, a mechanical keyboard is generally much more expensive than a membrane keyboard. Noise. Although most people love the clicky sound of mechanical key switches, it can be really annoying for other people if you share a workspace or if you like to stay up late at night gaming. And variety. Again, this is a pro and a con, but because of how many different variations there are of mechanical switches, it can sometimes feel really intimidating trying to decide which keyboard is the right one for you. So now that we have a general idea of the pros and cons of mechanical and membrane keyboards, it's time to start thinking about picking a keyboard for your own needs and budget. This is where the keyboard debate gets interesting. There's no such thing as the best keyboard. There's only the best keyboard for your situation. What I mean when I say that is that although, say, your friend might recommend you to get a super clicky, hardcore mechanical keyboard, if you've got thin walls and your roommates or family are light sleepers, then they're going to absolutely hate it when you keep them up all night clicking away while you're gaming. In this case, a silent switch mechanical or even a high-end membrane could actually be a better option for your situation. I know it might seem ridiculous, but we've seen it happen so many times over the years that it really pays to think about these things before you dive in. Now, because the market is constantly changing, we've decided that instead of putting our recommendations in this video, we're going to create a page on the Playtech website where we can keep these recommendations up to date, so that whenever you're watching this, you can click through the link in the description and see our current recommendations. With that said, I hope that gives you a little bit more information about the difference between mechanicals and membrane keyboards. We'll be putting together some more videos. Up next, I'll probably look at something like the difference between all the different key switches and things like that, and hopefully just get you more informed so that you can make a better decision when buying a new gaming keyboard. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.